I like to think of Luke as the evangelist of joy. The word joy or rejoice, the Greek cognates of that root of words, is very much more prevalent in Luke than in any of the other gospel writers. In some ways, joy is to Luke what love is to John. Right? In John's gospel and his letters, it's love. God is love. Love me, love one another as I love you. But for Luke, it's joy. Joy is the gift of the Spirit. Joy is what happens when God shows up. And so again, and not just joy, but song. Luke is the evangelist of song. So we read two of those songs right in every evening office: the Magnificat, the Song of Mary, and then the Song of Simeon. And of course, in morning prayer, quite frequently, we have the Song of Zechariah, also given to us by Luke. And we read this passage from the prophet Isaiah because we are convinced that Luke had Isaiah in mind, especially this passage where it says, "Listen, your sentinels lift up their voices, together they sing for joy." That is, for Luke, we know that we know the Lord when we experience joy. That is, the experience of new life breaking in to our present circumstance. No matter how deadly, no matter how despairing, no matter how dark, when we see new life, new creation, when we see the power of love breaking into our circumstances, that's joy. That is why Jesus could say, and especially Luke's gospel brings us out, rejoice on that day, sing for joy when they persecute you, right? When they say all horrible things about you for my sake, rejoice, Jesus says. And Luke makes sure you get that word rejoice in there. Rejoice and be glad. Echoing the prophet Isaiah, rejoice, O Jerusalem, be glad, O Zion. Rejoice and be glad when that happens. Because you must be on to something, Jesus is suggesting. You must be on to new creation life in the midst of a world that thinks death has the last words. The message of Jesus that Luke wants us to know is that life and love have the last word, and that joy is the way that we experience the knowledge of that in the present. Joy is what we're called to share with each other, that the sentinels sing for joy, so you have to imagine a city that's under siege, right? And this is a common ancient metaphor. So you have a city under siege, and you have the sentinels inside the walls, right? And they're looking for what we would say, the cavalry to come over the hill. And the sentinels are waiting because you have this little city, right? And they're waiting for the king to bring his army, right? You remember no early warning radar, right? So it's like the king has to hear there's been an invasion, right? They've surrounded the city of Gilead, whatever it is. And I have to go rescue them. So then the king gets his army and he goes to rescue. And so the image here is one of sentinels looking to the dawn, looking to the rising sun, and seeing the banner of their king and his rescuing army coming up into their field of vision. They know that they have delivered. They have stood fast. They have endured the darkness. They have made it through the night. And joy comes in the morning. Luke is the one who tells us the story that Jesus' resurrection on that dawn is the king coming over the hill with his forces. Jesus' resurrection is the rescue of the besieged human city, besieged by the night of death itself. And we are called to spread the joy, the knowledge, the experience of that resurrection life in our very present. We are to be sentinels of joy. A reading from the prophet Isaiah. How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of the messenger who announces peace, who brings good news, who announces salvation, who says to Zion, your God reigns. Listen, your sentinels lift up their voices. Together they sing for joy, for in plain sight they see the return of the Lord to Zion. Break forth together into singing, you ruins of Jerusalem, for the Lord has comforted his people. He has redeemed Jerusalem. The Lord has bared his holy arm before the eyes of all the nations, and all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of our God. The word of the Lord.